Hi, my name is Cassie York. I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor and a licensed clinical addiction specialist, and I work at Mountain Community Health Partnership. One of the barriers for people receiving services for substance use or mental health has always been, historically, stigma. Stigma that the community holds for folks who have an addiction to substances of any kind, or people who have mental health problems. Stigma is, thoughts, values, beliefs, how people are socialized. That's where it comes from. It comes from internal biases that we hold, that we may be aware of or not. A lot of people feel that substance use disorder is a moral failing, or that people could just stop it if they wanted to, that they do it intentionally. Mental health as well, it's a lack of understanding. No one would choose that way of life. No one would choose to have challenges or struggles, but they do. I think for many people, I think it's difficult to access services because the fear of someone finding out. Maybe they've been able to hide their issue. Maybe they've been able to continue working. They have a family. They have a job. They have things that they could lose if people found out that they were receiving treatment or even admitted that they have a substance use problem. And it's understandable, because I do feel like society holds a lot of bias towards people who do have substance use disorder. I think there's this fear that goes with that, and it's an understandable fear in some respects, that people aren't trustworthy, or they'll steal from you, they'll lie to you all the time. And could that possibly be true? Absolutely. Substance use disorder kind of takes over. I've worked for MCHP since 2018. When I came to work there, I was a peer support specialist, which is someone who is in long-term recovery, who identifies as being in long-term recovery from either substance use disorder or mental health challenges. I actually wanted to be a counselor early on because I was raised in a home where there was severe and persistent mental health challenges. So maybe my awareness was opened earlier on than some people as to the reality and the truth about mental health. But it was later, after, that interest, kind of developed in me. I was probably in middle school, during those years, that I knew I wanted to be a counselor. But growing up with mental health in my home created a lot of challenges for me too. And I found the solution, or at least a temporary solution, the first time I ever drank alcohol. I was raised in a home with both my parents, my mom and my stepdad. They're adult children of alcoholics. They didn't drink at all. And it's because of that. My mom always, she always told me, people in our family can't drink and they cannot use drugs. Don't ever do that. And for me, I had no idea. I was very naive. I mean, it was kind of like an abstract thought for me. I didn't know what drinking looked like. I didn't know what substance use of any kind looked like. But I do know what mental health looks like. And it can be very confusing, very isolating. I didn't ever have anybody come over to my house because I didn't know what it was going to be like when I got there. And I say that without judgment. That's mental health sometimes. But anyway, I found some refuge in alcohol. That was the first substance that I ever tried. I didn't sneak out and smoke cigarettes. I didn't do these things that the research will tell you that smoking cigarettes is the first indicator that someone may develop an issue with substance use later on. But that wasn't the case for me. I went to a party with my friends who I did not know drank alcohol. and people were drinking, and I drank. I drank that night because I wanted to be part of the crowd. Everybody does. You want acceptance. I didn't accept myself. I wanted somebody to. And so, yeah, that it wasn't long before I figured out what my mom meant when she said people in our family can't drink. I had a blackout that first night that I drank. And that science tells you, research tells you, recovery literature tells you you should not drink if you have blackouts. But I didn't know that. And I don't know that it would have mattered. I'd always felt so uncomfortable in my own skin that I finally found something to help me feel okay with myself. So over the years, my addiction got progressively worse. I was using daily. I was using more and more substances every day, and I was using multiple kinds of substances, which was actually very dangerous. But at the time, I didn't realize it, and then also I didn't really care. After I lost my kids, I didn't want to live anymore. I mean, so it was kind of like Russian roulette every day with what substances I put in my body and where I chose to stay, like what company I kept. But it didn't matter. And after I came into recovery and I had a whole new purpose, I wanted to get back on track with going to school and doing the things that I have always felt like I needed to do, that I was supposed to do. And with more of a focus towards substance use because, I mean, naturally, that's where my heart is because of my own struggles, my own experiences, and loving people and caring for people who are no longer alive today because of substance use disorder. I'm blessed to be alive today. I feel such a sense of gratitude and responsibility to carry the message of hope and recovery to other people. So I won't say that I didn't have to do things like I had to work my way out of the red. I was in the red in a lot of areas of my life, every single one of them, to be honest. I mean, after I had a lot to do, I mean, law enforcement, I had to, I was on intense probation. I had an ankle monitor. I had all this. I had the step down plan when I was released from jail. And actually, I had a lot of support from law enforcement. The people who fought very hard to put me away also petitioned the judge to get me off supervised probation early because I'd met all my objectives. The person who they thought would die before my probation officer told me of all the people that he had on his caseload that he didn't think I would live to see the end of my probation. And yet, here I am today. But I had to do a lot of, repair in my relationships with my family and with my children when I was able to see them again. And I had to go through all the steps to do that. And going to school, honestly, none of that was really that hard. Using makes everything hard. I just didn't see it when I was using. I thought I couldn't get through the day without using, but really using was what was causing me so many problems, as I've said before. But it wasn't just a one and done. Success is not a straight shot. It's not just, boom, I stop using and everything is peachy keen and all is well and I'm in Candyland. I wish I could say that it was, but it isn't. However, it's doable, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's so much easier when you don't have to think about getting substances for the day or hiding it or lying about it. All those things. Life becomes a lot more doable. And happy. Although I did have to explain myself to the boards that I am licensed with, they still gave me a license to practice despite everything. And that to me gives me hope. That gives me, that's the hope I want other people to take away, that there's life and there's hope beyond the mistakes in the past or things that happen that may or may not be in someone's control. There's life beyond that. And I think that is the message, right? Is that recovery is possible and that people can have a good life and you don't have to live like this, right? This is the hope. So when I think about substance use disorder, I think about isolation. Substance use in itself is very isolating in nature. And I remember as my substance use progressed, I isolated more and more and more. With shame, with, I don't know, I mean, substance use just makes you not feel good either. And it's like, I didn't want people around me at all. But the opposite of that, recovery is connecting with the community. And I feel like, you know, for me, and in my role in the community, and even why I'm doing this now, is to get the message out there that recovery is possible, and that the person that you love and that is so unwell, maybe so unwell today, that they can get better. People recover. They recover every day. And that's what I want. I mean, and I know I'm not alone in that. I feel like for everyone who has someone they love that is suffering, because it is definitely suffering with substance use disorder, that there's hope. I mean, and for some people, going to jail might help them. For some people, going into treatment, into an inpatient treatment facility may help them. For some people, going to church may help them. Going to meetings, 12-step meetings, may help them. And I feel like all of that can help anybody, okay? I believe in all of that. Medication is helpful, There's multiple paths to recovery and multiple tools people can use to strengthen the recovery. And something that we can do as community members, because I'm a community member. I'm someone in long-term recovery. I'm someone who works in the field. I'm a professional. I'm a mother, okay? What we can do is we can show love to our neighbor, show love to our family member, show love to that unwell person, the person who is suffering. That doesn't mean give them everything they want. That means telling somebody the truth in love, I mean, that's what I do every day. I tell the truth today. That's part of my recovery. But I love people too, and they hear that. And I feel like they feel that from me when I work with them. So that's the key, right? Love is the key. Loving people despite their behavior, despite how they show up, loving them anyway. And to know that I'm them. I don't care if they took your debit card yesterday. I'm them, okay? And not to say that I'm the standard of recovery, but people recover and they do great things far better than me, and that's my challenge to ever do better than me. Do it. Because you can, and I'm, like I said, I'm nothing. I mean, I'm just, somebody that does, cares about people, but people can do far more than they think, than I think we as humans tend to think. I mean, I think it's very human to kind of lose hope when we go, we wait and things progress, and we think we can think, where are you, God, in this? Or why is this happening? I raised my kid different than this, or my partner tells me they love me, and yet they do these other things that doesn't feel like love. That's the disease. That's the, whether you look at it as a disorder, disease, a dis-ease of the spirit, however you look at substance use disorder, I mean, it isn't really them. It is, but it isn't. Their decisions are being made by that substance. So there's hope. People get better. I mean, and it may take hard circumstances to get them there, but it did for me. I don't learn easy. I learn the hard way. I hope that, people will hear my story or stories like mine, because I'm definitely not the only one, and know that there's hope. There's hope beyond a criminal history. There's hope beyond DSS involvement. There's hope beyond homelessness and starting your life over, or for the first time in my case, because I don't really feel like I lived until I wasn't living before I was existing. my life today is filled with joy and hope. And I hope that I can share that. You know, that's some quality I often tell people, what I bring to the table. I can hold hope in dark places.